Welcome to Come and See, your podcast for finding truth in a world of chaos. Brought to you by All for Jesus Living Waters Ministry. With host and founder Richard Case and co-host and retreat leader Kathy Ricconi. Today is our special guest day, where we will hear from a friend of the ministry who will share their insight and stories on truth in this chaotic world. And now your host, Richard Case.
Well, good morning, everybody. This is Guest Thursday, and we have a very special guest, John and Faith Ferris. John is the son of Rick and Kelly Ferris, and these are young marrieds and have been walking with God and learning abiding, and it's going to be a real joy to hear their story, which we know one thing about your life, guys, it's not boring.
It's great to have you guys on here.
Where,
Thank you. Great to be here.
Where are you guys living right now? Where are you guys?
We live in North Kingstown, Rhode Island, just about 5 minutes up the street from my parents, which is great. Beautiful little town, New England living. I hear you guys were just here recently. I wish we could have gotten together, but maybe on the next trip.
Yeah, we did. We had a great time there in Newport. Beautiful.
Yeah.
And you get to, I'm assuming you get to go out on your dad's boat once in a while. And
Yes, very nice. And enjoy the beautiful ocean and feel like you're feel really God's majesty when you're in the ocean. You're like, wow, the earth is huge. This is beautiful creation that we get to enjoy every day and take it all in.
Yep. And tell us just briefly, how many years you've been married, and you have children now. Tell us about that.
We do. We actually just celebrated our 4-year anniversary yesterday.
Oh, congratulations.
Thank you. So 4 years marriage, 4 years jam-packed with a whole bunch of blessings and trials. We have a beautiful 3-year-old son and a 1.5-year-old daughter. Who our son just started preschool at small Christian school that I actually went to K-8.
Oh, no way.
So yes, it's kind of a total flashback to the past and just awesome to be in those halls again and drop him off and know that prayed for by his teachers.
So here's a question. Any of your old teachers still there?
There are 3 of them that are still there they're on 26 years.
So are they going to be excited to see another Ferris come up, or are they going to be dreading when he walks in the door?
Maybe a little bit of both. They were all very excited to see me. That you of course awesome. grow up a lot. I definitely gave my teachers a run for their money, but
yeah, that's great. Well, let's first of all start with sharing how you each came to know Christ. So, Faith, why don't we start with you and tell us your journey in terms of coming to know Christ.
Yeah, so I was raised in a Church of Christ. My mom was really good at taking me to church and immersing me in that church family to where they truly were like family to us. It wasn't just like a place that we went on Sundays and Wednesdays. We got together with people, and I was really, really blessed to have that church family growing up. Because whenever I strayed in my teenage years, for example, one of those ladies had a journal where she prayed for me every single day.
Oh,
and
sweet.
Yeah, I truly, truly believe that like the power of prayer and the power of all those people at my home church. I'm halfway across the country, but they're still fervent in their prayers for me. And I feel as if God's family, everywhere I've moved, has just gotten so big to where anywhere I go, I know that somebody has prayed for me this week. And I don't know, it's just I will always remember my home church. So I had a very, very nice home church growing up, but I did stray in my teenage years, and around 20, I had moved to Florida by myself, and I just felt God's presence unlike any other, and him wanting me to come back to him and go to church on my own without knowing that, oh, my whole Church of Christ family is going to be like, where's Faith? Or my mom's going to be like, where's Faith? It got to be my own choice to go to church and seek that out. And so I chose to get rebaptized when I was 20, and I had found my faith on my own, with the help of a new church family, of course, in Florida, who were absolutely amazing and still are amazing. But yeah, so definitely strayed and came back more on fire than ever. And I really have a relationship now with God to where we talk throughout the day, and abiding the book has really helped me realize that it's just about staying close to him and staying in contact with him, and having that relationship. And I fully understand that now that I've found my faith on my own.
Yeah. So when you were 20, were you in college then, or where were you there?
No, so I'd started going to college in Oklahoma, but I just wasn't in the right mindset to hunker down and learn.
Yeah.
So yeah, I was from a very rough hometown, a lot of people on drugs, a lot of my family were addicted to very hard drugs. So you know, I just had to make the choice for myself to get out of Oklahoma and see what else was out there, because my small town had became my whole world, and
Yeah.
I needed to see that there could be more out there than just what I had.
Yeah, beautiful. That's a great story. John, how about you? How did you come to know Christ?
Yeah, so similar to Faith, I was raised in the church with, of course, my parents, a small Christian school from kindergarten through 8th grade. You know, involved in youth group, involved in the church, and going to church weekly. And you know, similarly, high school years hit, and your thought process starts to change, and you are starting to become an independent thinker, and you want to start testing the boundaries of what is out there, what is things. So, you know, I definitely strayed also. I went to my freshman year of college after high school at Liberty University.
Yep.
Which was awesome, and definitely re-engaged me in my relationship with him and being around all those students. But I definitely was not mature enough or ready enough to be in college at that point. I had no idea what I wanted to do. I don't know if anybody knows anything about Liberty's campus, but it is one of the most beautiful campuses in the country, with activities that you can do all day long and not even go to class, and they have an astroturf fake ski park, and I've played lacrosse and on the lacrosse team. So there was just distractions everywhere. So I did 1 year there, and then, you know, we're reassessed, and okay, maybe, you know, I should take a year or two off, or 3 or whatnot. And so I ended up moving back home. And those were some tough years. I was home for 3 years, in a relationship with a girl at the time who was basically an atheist. And that was really hard on me, because my heart was still in Christ, and, you know, and you're just kind of trying to battle that as a young person. And so I remember one day my parents had just started going to a new church, and they were inviting me down because I had known the pastor for a really long time. He was only a few years older than me. He was a substitute PE teacher for me at the school. He gave me some tennis lessons and stuff like that when I was younger. And we always had a really good relationship. So I remember waking up and just driving down to that church for the first time in probably the entire 3 years that I was back from Liberty. And one of those sermons that God was literally preaching right to me, right to my face, broke down in tears after the service with the pastor. met with him literally the next morning, Monday morning, first thing for coffee, because I just felt so afflicted by, of course, God's presence and not living my life aligned with him when you kind of have that moment where you hit that rock bottom. And so he challenged me, of course, to break ties with the atheist girlfriend, basically, which I did. And then immediately, basically, God's blessings started opening doors and pouring back upon me, which is just so beautiful of how he
So cool.
does that. And he sees your heart turning back towards him, and he really wants to give you those covenant blessings, those abundant blessings, and he wants you to live in that life and be in that. So literally probably a week or two after that, I got a call from my goalie at the lacrosse team at Liberty, who had already graduated and was starting at a new school in North Carolina. They had scholarship money. It was a new program, and he invited me to come back down and play lacrosse again. So that's where I finished, went back, packed up, and of course had my new again relationship in Christ kind of as a young adult, really officially. That's when I'd say my real relationship with him started. Of course, I said the prayer in second grade and got baptized in maybe fourth or something like that. But you really develop so much when you kind of hit those teen years and you start to have your own independent thought process, and okay, what is this and how does this work, and is this something that was just kind of forced upon me, or what does my relationship with God look like? And then I met Rich Cachero, who has been an incredible blessing in both of our lives, in our marriage and in our life. And I think I did my first abiding with him probably 7 years ago now. And we still talk every Tuesday morning. We've gone through a handful of your amazing studies that have really just helped us through our marriage, our life, our own personal lives, and our own relationship with Christ. So.
Yeah, beautiful. Are you? I know you're a great lacrosse player. Do you still play at all, club level?
Yeah, I do.
That's great.
I play in an men's over 30 league up here, and then some pickup lacrosse with the same guys. And then I actually just took Jack up this weekend to the professional lacrosse at Gillette Stadium.
Yeah.
And got him first stick, and we were playing catch yesterday. And yeah, it's so much fun.
That's great. What position do you play on the team?
I played attack, so forward attack, and my specific position was X, so that's behind the goal. So you're kind of like the quarterback back there.
Cool. That's great. It'd be fun to watch sometime. Well, tell us. So now you two are believers, starting to walk with God. How did you meet each other, and go through your dating process, and then wind up getting married? Tell us about that.
So whenever I was living in Florida, I found out about this camp called Summit in Colorado. It's in Manitou Falls, and it's just about like how to defend your faith, and it just gives you a lot of practical applications in today's world, aimed at people that were my age at the time, like 18 to 22, and just gives you a place to go and meet other Christians and cement that faith. Well, I felt called like no other to go to this camp. So I'm in Florida. My church helps me save up money. I'm saving up all my money. I go to this camp, and like it's almost a 2-week camp. So near the end of it, they have like their sponsors come in, and different schools come in and talk about their programs. It's kind of like advertising in a way, but there was a program there called created, but it was like Create Ed. So they were a philosophical, Socratical type school where they didn't have any true credits, college credits, but you could go to this school and it helped expand your way of thinking. It was based in North Carolina, and they were situated on a YMCA campus in the Blue Ridge Mountains. So it was absolutely
Sounds beautiful.
Yes,
Mm.
breathtakingly beautiful. And it was community style living where you're just around God's people and you learn together and you live together and you learn how to do life together, really. So I'm at this camp and I feel incredibly called to this school. I have no idea why. I'm just like, okay, God, I hear you loud and clear. So I traveled back home to Florida after that camp and I start crunching some numbers and I realize I'm gonna have to save up a whole bunch of money in order to go to this creative school. So I cancel my lease and I'm like, all right, I'm gonna leave here in January because that's when the next semester starts at the school. I'm just gonna walk in faith and I'm gonna save up all my money and see what happens. So in December, I get a call from the school and they're like, hey, so we actually didn't have enough students sign up this year. We're just going to cancel the semester. I was like, hey, I canceled my whole life for this. Like, I have nowhere to live. I have nowhere to go. I told my job I'm quitting and I'm moving up to North Carolina. So what do you think I should do? And they're like, well, we do have a staff position opening in our office and we could house you and you could get paid to work and save up money until the next semester. So I said, okay, that sounds like a great option. Let me do that. So I did just that. I traveled up there. I knew nobody and I started working at that school. And I started to make friends with the people there. One of my friends there, his name was Derek, and he loved to play lacrosse, but our school, of course, didn't have a lacrosse team. So he got in touch with John's lacrosse team at Montreat College,
Yeah.
where John played lacrosse. And my friend Derek would just practice with them and play with them. And my friend Derek played the drums and John played the guitar. So once they learned that about each other, they formed a little house band. And so then I would get invited over to the house band nights and I would just watch them play music, listen, and
No, the first time that she came over when we were having a little jam, I was like, who is that?
Ah, love it.
And then, you know, our friendship formed and we just started hanging out and really becoming friends first and really just spending a whole bunch of time together, exploring the mountains down there, going on hikes, playing music, kind of finishing up was about to going into my last year. And so, I mean, we started dating really slow. We really became friends first, and then kind of that fire built up inside, and then we, you know, talked about it and we started dating more seriously. And then when we were coming to the end of my senior year, it was a big transition. It was okay, what are we going to do? You know, I love this girl, I want to be with this girl, but I don't know what's gonna go on or what's happening or what. God, what do you have for me, right? So what did I start doing? Abiding and journaling it out and writing down all my fears. And when I actually started journaling out, like
good.
what's going to happen, and hey, God, do you have it in your will for us to get married? And when you actually start, you know, that always sounds like a great thing. You're all on fire with love and like, yes, marriage. And then you sit down for a minute and you start writing it out. And you're like, whoa, marriage. Really what you have for me right now, God? Like, I thought that was definitely going to be a few years down the road or something. And so, yes, I started journaling. I still remember the exact moment I was sitting in my bedroom and I was journaling. I definitely still have the journal and was kind of getting into a human dark headspin of whoa, just scribbling it down. And I audibly heard God's voice just say, yes, faith.
Wow.
And so I literally just dropped my journal and I, you know, fell on my knees, prayed and felt an incredible peace, and went and got a ring and asked her to marry me.
That is so beautiful.
And
I
so
just want to highlight.
go ahead,
Oh,
Kathy, go ahead.
I know you have more story, but I just want to highlight something, this thread that we're hearing throughout both of your entire testimony here of your stories is God calling you to something and you being willing to say yes despite all logic. And then after the step of faith, without faith, it's impossible to please God.
Yeah.
After the step of faith, him just abundantly blessing all of what you're doing and showing you, hey, I just ask you to step out. Now watch me be God.
Amen.
And your yes, like I'm just hearing this beautiful theme of yes from the two of you, which is just fun to hear. I just wanted to highlight that.
Yes, everybody thought that I was crazy. Like, you're gonna move from Florida to North
Right.
Carolina to work at this school that you know nothing about. Like, is this even a real school? My mom was so like, are you okay? Yeah, it was definitely a huge step of faith, but I had to remind her what my name was. Like, Mom, you named me
Right.
Faith.
Oh,
Our
yeah.
names come into play so much in our life. And I just truly, truly feel, like you said, that God was asking us to step out in faith.
Yep.
Yeah, so
And they
beautiful.
and you so from the time you met, how long did you date before you got married?
So we met in January, and on my birthday in April was the first night that we got to hang out without any of my friends. So that was the night where we kind of looked at each other like, oh, you might like me, and I don't think you. Okay. And it was like after that, we just hung out every single day. Like, we did not miss a day.
Nice.
Every single day we hung out after that, and like, he knew that I wanted to be celibate until we were married, and that was a big deal for us in our dating journey. I'm like, there's no way this guy's gonna date me. He's like, no, it's not gonna happen. But he was so just patient and on the same page with me that there was no way that I could ignore that and think that that was normal of any man our age. So that summer he went back to Rhode Island for a little bit because his school year was over, and I actually came up with him, and we had a nice Rhode Island summer. I had never been up here. And after that, the next school year, we got engaged in December. We got engaged on Christmas. So it was almost a year from meeting that we got engaged. But once we knew, we just knew. And it was kind of funny to know that early on and just be like, okay, well, let's like get to know each other first, you know? Like,
which was part of my just anxious abiding.
Yeah.
Because it really wasn't that long. Both of us had been in longer relationships prior. And so, it was like, wow, this is kind of quick, God, really? Is it? And like I said, when he had audible voice in my head, and okay, I trust you.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah, it's a neat again, a great example of how God works to fulfill his greater purpose, which obviously was to get you guys together at the same place. And then get married, have children, and now off on your journey of life by you learning to abide, hear, follow, and then receive the grand life. So it's remarkable, really, that you both had that element of trust as you went through it, and then you talked about abiding and what that looks like. So we thank you so much for sharing the setup. We're going to have you back next week, and we'd like you to talk about your abiding process, discerning God's will. What does that really look like now that you've come together and learned that together, and how you as a couple work toward unity and seeking God with a basic element of faith that and it's kind of cool your mom did call you name you that, That's what
Yeah.
that's what's required is we have to walk by faith, so it's going to be fun to hear. So thank you so much for sharing. Just we're so excited all by itself just to hear God at work, and you respond to God at work,
Absolutely.
so it was quite fun. So we'll pick you up again next time, and thank you so much for sharing.
Yes,
Thank
thanks
you.
for
Thanks for
joining us,
having me.
everyone. And thank you. We'll look forward to hearing from you again next week. And thank you for joining us, everyone online. Be sure to tune in tomorrow for End Times Friday, and then again next Thursday to hear the rest of John and Faith's story.
Yep.
Have a great
All right.
day.
See you soon.
Thank you for joining us for today's episode of Come and See, your podcast for truth in a world of chaos. Brought to you by All for Jesus Living Waters Ministry. Send us your questions and comments, and tune in tomorrow for more answers to your personal questions about living life in God's truth. Remember, God's will is best and none better. His truth brings peace in this world of chaos.